Salud. It's early. Maybe 5 a.m.-ish. This was supposed to be a live stream of the last 2 hours of Monday Night Raw from last night. A little bit later this morning into the afternoon, a nice maybe hour and a half, 2 hour live stream, give or take a few minutes. Hour number one is already up on the channel. We did a live reaction of hour number one. Live. BC Live, a watch-along, if you will. Live review, live reaction, hour number one, already up on the channel. I was going to come at you guys this morning with another live stream, the final 2 hours of last night, in a straight fire review. The reason we're not going live later isn't because I had something scheduled in its place, something came up. I have to take care of something else within that 2 hour frame. No, the reason we can't go live later is because there wasn't enough material from last night's Raw. Sadly, and I do mean pathetically sadly, there was nothing. Just like the first hour of Raw, there was nothing in hour number 2 or hour number 3 that was worth talking about. If you saw hour number 1, you know exactly how I feel about that first hour. You got a live reaction of BC. If you haven't caught it yet, it's up on the channel. In the next 2 hours, I can't say anything got better. They filled the entire second hour with a gauntlet match, which normally you'd say, okay, a gauntlet match can be fun. In fact, this one wasn't even that bad, BC. Not too much complaining from me, BC. I didn't mind that gauntlet match last night. Rhea Ripley finally looked good. Pro wrestling has to be more than just a wrestling match. Most of you know that, you just lie to yourselves. But you can get great wrestling at the local bingo hall with my local pizza delivery guy, Luigi Lugnuts, taking on my local mortician, Paulie Walnuts. The local grocery bagger, Fuckwad Fred, taking on the local barista down at the Starbucks around the block, Danny Dipshit Dugenheimer. You can get great wrestling with all of them, mixing it up. But you need story behind it. You need reasoning behind it. You need your fans to be invested, to care about it. So when you ask people who try to use logic and common sense, who try to get a semblance of realism and believability into what they're watching, we'll meet you halfway in the wacky world of pro wrestling. We'll believe the most craziest of shit, but meet us halfway is all we ask. So you have this gauntlet match for one of the last 2 spots in the women's Elimination Chamber match, but everybody else didn't have to go through a gauntlet. Everybody else was either granted a spot, snap of a finger, just declared a spot, or they won a match. And all of a sudden, we changed the rules because we don't want to get creative in the show. So we do a gauntlet match because it's easy writing, right? It takes up 1 whole hour of a 3 hour show, and the fans will eat it up usually. That's why gauntlet matches are not so rare anymore. We've seen several every single year. They used to be a rarity. That's a thing of the past. But they ate up the entire second hour with a gauntlet match. Okay, there's only so much time I can take over that. That filled up maybe a quarter of my notepad. 1 sheet. 2 hours, one sheet. That's right, I'm old school. I write everything down. That's how much I care about these shows, and that's how much I care about pro wrestling. That's how much effort BC puts into this shit. After I went live for over an hour with you guys, I then proceeded to write down all my notes. That's how vividly I watch. That's how much I dissect pro wrestling. That's why I am amazing at what I do. Not just because I declared it, not just because any of you told me, but because of how I prepare, how I approach what I do. It's top-notch, leaps and bounds better than the rest. Because I put in the time, the effort, the care. If only the old bastard in Stamford, Connecticut did the same. Don't hold your breath on it. The entire hour number 2. We'll just throw a gauntlet. There you go. Easy peasy, as Asuka says. Then you went into hour number 3. And that's where you got more costume party, more toga broga party. You even got Matt Riddle on the guitar, singing his new bro version song. Awesome. Did you giggle? Did you chuckle? Just wondering. Not for a friend, for myself. I'm taking my own inventory. Did you chuckle at the broga party? Did you chuckle at more than half the roster dressed up in togas? Did you laugh? It's okay if you did. I'm not even going to bother insulting you at this point. Did you laugh? Did you love seeing Apollo and Commander sneeze? Somebody who's supposed to be a big, massive, giant presence in his little toga, or his big toga? Did you laugh at the toga party? Because immediately after that broga party segment, we went right into a restaurant 24/7 chase segment, where everybody is chasing around Dana Brooke at a restaurant. Ninja Tozawa and Tamina, they're set up as the Hendersons. You know the Hendersons. They got the nice big house at the end of the cul-de-sac, white picket fence, little dog barking in the back, right? They're the Joneses, the Hendersons. They're sitting down to have a nice Valentine's meal. No, it's Ninja Tozawa and Tamina, and they're gonna chase around Dana Brooke. Even Reggie's gonna get in on his soon-to-be girlfriend. That was right after the toga party. So if you didn't laugh at the broga costume party, you got a good laugh at the restaurant chase segment. And if you didn't laugh at any of that, well, Alexa Bliss and her doll therapy section was next, because you gotta market the dolls to the children that you're booking this shit for, right? With the scooter races and the Jeopardy quizzes and the trivia and the costume parties. This is booked for children. This is for a children's birthday. These are not pro wrestlers anymore. These are just entertainers for a children's birthday party. You can literally hire them and they'll come to your house and they'll parade around for your children. They're performers now, right? That's all they are. Pro wrestlers? No, Vince McMahon hates that fucking word. If you can mix wrestling with good storytelling and captivating moments and finishes and epic segments, man, now we're starting to come to life when you have characters that are larger than life, man. That is the recipe for a good wrestling show. This show has none of it. Did you laugh at hour number 3? Did you laugh at the dolls? Did you laugh at the costume party? Did you laugh at everybody chasing Dana Brooke in a restaurant? Did you laugh throughout the entire 3 hours? Because I've been telling you that for the last 6 years plus, this show has been losing 300,000 plus viewers every year. That is a true statistic. I put it up in a graph a few videos ago. Literally showed you, I didn't just tell you, I showed you the trajectory of Raw. In the last 6 years, they are losing over 300,000 viewers. Just 2 years ago, over 1 million gone. Within the last 5 years, 2 million people are gone. Within 5 years, 2 million people have no longer, or have, said check you later to Vince, and are no longer tuning into this show. Or for that company at large, Fox pulls in 2 million. You gotta believe 250 to 300,000 is absolute casual viewers put on Fox because it's broadcast television, network television. They put that shit on and they're probably doing extracurricular activities, if you know what I mean. Taking the old lady into the bedroom and banging it out. Rolling up some how you doings. Studying for an exam with that as background noise. Who knows? They just put on Fox because it's only one of only 4 channels they have. I doubt very much that the $2 million they bring in on Fox is even all wrestling fans. But here we are. They're losing 300,000 plus every year. 300,000 viewers gone every year. At this rate, I told you, within 2 years, Vince McMahon and Monday Night Raw will be seeing a 1.0 rating. Which means if a holiday comes around or a big Monday Night Football game, goodbye, because they don't have the product that can compete. So they're going to dip below 1 million. And that's when I said AEW, Tony Khan, and his product, his show, his promotion, AEW, they could become the #1 pro wrestling company on cable. Not Fox, that's network television, broadcast, but on cable television, Tony Khan could become the #1 promotion with his AEW in just 2 years. Maybe less at this rate. Why am I bringing this up? Because this is the shit that they're parading out there week after week, month after month, year after year. They're booking for a children's birthday party. They're booking to preschoolers at this point, and it's been proven not to be working. The money that Vince is pouring in while they're recording record revenue is because of the streaming service deal, the network deal with Fox, streaming with Peacock, NBC Universal. The tens of millions of dollars that Saudi Arabia is willing to pay them. But when your audience goes to nothing, to nil, to 1 million and under, you're not going to get those network deals anymore. You ran out of the streaming service deals. No country is going to give you $100,000, much less the $100 million to come put on performances in their country. My point is, Vince McMahon is liquidating these last 2 years. Yeah, he's pouring record revenue. But if you keep neglecting your own audience, you ain't gonna have any deals left to pull out of your ass. This show, viewership-wise and viewer to product and the way we see it, it's the lowest it's ever been, and we keep saying that like a broken record every week, but it keeps going lower and lower and lower, and the numbers show you that. You can't just blame Olympics and Sci-Fi Channel for last week's record 28, 29-year low, because Tony Khan went against the same Olympics on Wednesday night. In fact, 1 million more viewers tuned in on Wednesday night to the Olympics. Again, a couple of videos ago, I actually showed you the ratings, showed you the graphs. Showed you the evidence, just so you know it's not just my words. Tony Khan went against 1 million more viewers on Wednesday night than the Olympics had on Monday night, and Tony Khan actually gained nearly 200,000 viewers because he put on a top-to-bottom, beginning to end, start to finish, damn solid show. A damn good show. Whereas Vince McMahon lost almost 400,000 viewers. All that momentum from the post-Royal Rumble, gone. And I proved to you, it's not the Olympics. They took a slow hit for being on Sci-Fi, but once everybody found it, at a 1.5 is where they topped off, which is exactly where they were the entire month of December and a few weeks in November. That tells BC that their new normal is about 1.5, 1.6. So they topped off at 1.5 last Monday night, and then you saw it go right back to 1.4 and even 1.3. They're not producing a show worth giving a damn about. I'm not going to blame the Olympics or Sci-Fi, last week or this week. The company keeps reaching new lows every week. The company is in dire straits. The company has lost touch with its viewer. You're going to get the people that buy the ticket, show up to the arena, and they clap like fucking the good little seals that they are. Right? This is what they do, right? And they yell their chants, "This is awesome," right? They could be watching Dana Brooke getting chased around in a restaurant, up on the big Tron. It's not even live in front of them. It's up on the Tron like it's a TV, and they're at home. And they'll be chanting in the arena, "This is awesome!" Watching Dana Brooke get chased by Ninja Tozawa and R-Truth and dressed up as a waiter. Ninja Tozawa is a chef. Maybe Tamina is the trash can this week. She's dressed up as garbage and they're chasing Dana Brooke and this is awesome. You're going to get those fans that'll absolutely, every time Vince McMahon drops his pants, they'll be there to stroke the motherfucker off. You're going to get those fans. And Vince will suck every penny out of them. But us who raised our bar and we refuse to drop our bar to bare minimum, substandard, mediocre standards, we refuse to lower our bar. We know what's up. We know that unless they change, we're not giving in to this shit. We're not going to laugh at these segments. We're not going to giggle. We're not going to say that, hey, it's getting better because they had 2 or 3 good segments. We're not lowering our standards, man. And we're not going to just stop watching if we don't like it. I would have stopped watching my New York Knicks 20 years ago, nearly. If that's the case, no, I'm going to show up to Madison Square Garden, and when they suck, which is most of the time, I'm going to scream, I'm going to hoot, I'm going to holler, I'm going to criticize. You're going to hear BC whether I'm in the front row at Madison Square Garden or I'm in the I'm up at the top of the heap of the nosebleed sections. You're going to hear BC out of everybody, the thousands of people in attendance. You're going to hear me screaming at my players. That's right, my players. New York Knicks, Green Bay Packers, my Yankees, La Familia. We are one. I love my New York Knicks. I scream at them more times than not. 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 games, it seems. I scream at my New York Knicks. I scream at these players because I know what they're capable of. I love the motherfuckers. I want to see them succeed to championships and beyond. And I know that they're not living up to it. So you're damn right I'm not going to just walk away from WWE or pro wrestling because you're telling me if I don't like it and it's making me angry, then just stop watching. No. It's been there ever since I was a little BC, and I'll always be there for it, because I love this shit. And this is a shell of what it once was, and a shell of what it could be. And it is pathetic that the last 2 hours of yesterday's show, I have one page of notes. I couldn't even go live for you guys. By the time this gets out to your boxes, if the tube allows it to get to your box from this platform, we should have been going live at that time. There's just not enough material. How sad is that a 3-hour show cannot produce enough material to talk about for at least an hour? This may go an hour because a half an hour of it will be me dissecting the issues in this fucking company. But at this point, I sound like a broken record because you've already heard me talk about the lack of larger-than-life characters, the lack of good storytelling, the lack of this company captivating us, the lack of going to a pay-per-view premium event and caring about the matches, being invested in them. None of it. You get none of it anymore. Somehow VKM, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the old bastard in Stanford, somehow he put a main event last night that is 2 of the best wrestlers in the world, Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton, and he somehow made it found a way that BC didn't care about it. The people in Indiana, they didn't care about it. Watch the crowd the entire match. Watch the finish. Listen and watch the crowd. And I know so many of you probably the same way. You're probably thinking, wait, this is Rollins and Orton. It's a good match. I mean, if you're dissecting the wrestling, it's a good match. So why am I not having fun watching? Why isn't this interesting? Why isn't this intriguing? There's nothing wrong with you. Oh no, you weren't alone. We were all feeling that same way. Orton, Rollins. Didn't hit. Straight up boring, actually. Why? Because there was no care. There was no point to that. Randy Orton has been in a fucking tag team for the last year and a half. Picture that. One of the best wrestlers in the world. He's only got a few good years left. He's even talking retirement within a few years. And this is how he's spending those years. He's in a tag team with Matt Riddle in scooter races and quizzes and trivias, and he's getting new scooters with tassels on them, purple tassels. This is Randy Orton. And he's been in this fucking 5-month feud with Alpha Academy, which isn't even a feud. They're playing games, having races, and they're just facing each other every other week. It's not a feud. That's not a storyline. But we'll see the 10th match between them at Extreme Rules or Extreme Elimination Chamber, and then we'll see it again at WrestleMania, probably SummerSlam, until Randy Orton finally RKO's Matt Riddle. And by then, will I even give a shit? But that's Randy Orton. So he's in a tag team. He's in some tag team shit with Alpha Academy. And Seth Rollins is one of fucking 72 people inside the Elimination Chamber Sunday. So, of course, Rollins has nothing to do with anybody else in the chamber. He's in the main event with a tag team guy, Randy Orton. And by the end of the show, everyone's like, that's it? What the fuck is this doing for anything? How is this going to make anybody give a fuck about Saturday's Elimination Chamber? And what does this do to build any interest for last night's show, Saturday, going forward toward WrestleMania? I mean, this is Mania season. This show told you the exact opposite story. You would think this is leading up to, or is the Christmas show, where they know nobody's watching. So they think if they built a good show, people would watch. You would think this is the Christmas show. Nothing happened last night. You could have missed all 3 hours, and you would have missed nothing. Most of you say BC. I don't even watch the show anymore. I just tune into your review. If you say something was over the top good, I'll go check it out. You hear that, Vince? People are fucking stopping. They're not watching your show, as I've documented with facts. 300,000 viewers every year, falling by the wayside. And instead, they're watching BC, the reviewer of the show. That's not good, Vince. Good for BC. But I'd rather flip it. I'd rather they watch the show and not BC, or BC afterwards, after watching the actual show. But I don't blame them. I don't blame them for skipping the 3 hours of redundancy, the 3 hours of pain and suffering, and just going right over to BC and watching me. Save yourself the 3 hours of being inside of a pit of misery. I can't even say I blame them. I couldn't even go live because I had one page. Literally, behind this page is the main event. I never go in the back of a paper. I always start a new page. The main event was on the back. Everything. 2 hours on one sheet of paper until I finally realized, wait, I can't even go live in a few hours. I went to bed around 3, got up at 4. Again, I think I started filming this or got set up around 5 a.m. That's what it is right now. By now, maybe closer to 6 a.m. I don't know. Fucking, it's early. It's early. And I realized before I went to bed at 3 a.m., I said, shit, I can't even go live, I don't believe. I'll reassess when I get up in an hour, and I got up at 4:05 a.m., and I said, nope, I can't go live. What am I gonna fucking, I mean, we'd spend more time just shooting the shit, I'm sure. You guys would keep fucking supplying coffee after coffee just to shoot the shit. And I'd be down with it, but it wouldn't be a real Raw review. It's sad that I couldn't even go fucking live because that's how non-existent and irrelevant this show was. How much it did not produce. And if you saw the live stream last night, you saw something that happened last week. When I started doing these a month ago, I think it was a month, maybe 2 months ago, I tried it once and you guys really enjoyed it. You guys were comparing it to like watching the Mannings doing the Monday Night Football. So you have the actual broadcast, but then Peyton Manning and Eli, they just started doing their own wacky shit while watching it, and people were finding that more entertaining. So I did it 1 week, and you guys were like, what the fuck? I like that shit. So I did it a second week, and I started it as only like, hey, maybe, fucking 50 amp unit members will fucking log on, click, and we'll all watch the first hour of Raw together. So I started off, hey, if 50 people want to hang out with BC while I watch Raw, let's rock. And that turned into since. We've done about 5 or 6 at least, right? Last month for sure. Whenever I can. And that's turned into hundreds of viewers live. So we do hundreds while the show is actually on the air, man. We pull about 400 or 500. We capped almost at 500 last night. And by now, several thousand of you have went back and caught it. So whoever didn't catch it live, a few thousand of you over the last 6 or 7 hours have went back and caught it. So, I mean, that's badass. You know, you guys are finding that more entertaining than the show. Again, I wish that wasn't the case. I wish we all could enjoy the actual show, and then BC will come on later. But I think I probably did this out of bare necessity just to keep myself awake. First hour, I'm going live. If 50 people want to tune in, cool. Turned into hundreds, and now we got something special on Monday nights, at least for the first hour. But something happened the last 2 weeks. Last week and last night it happened again. You guys started seeing where there was nothing positive in the first hour. Now, the first several before that, the first few weeks we did it, we at least found a positive. Like, there was one thing at least. Like, I remember one week there was a Zelina Vega versus Bianca Belair match. Not a lot of time, maybe fucking 6 minutes match time, but it was such a good match. And I was just hanging on every move, and I just called the entire match. I called it. I tapped into my inner Mauro Ronaldo. And we had a ball, man, and the chat was fired up. They were like, damn, what the fuck was... Just do that. Put a story on top of that with a bow, little cherry on top, and let's rock. I was always able to find something good in the first hour. Last week, something happened, man, and I couldn't find anything. Last week, when we started off with that Jeopardy quiz game show type of a segment, and Randy Orton is now in a Jeopardy, I mean, it just did not seem right. We were talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and past presidents and a TV show. I don't even know what we were talking about, but I just felt like I was losing more and more brain cells. And then Matt Riddle would open his mouth, and I just felt like, stupid. I literally felt like I needed to mute the TV. And then last night, it happened again. The entire first hour that I was live with you guys, I couldn't find one positive. And I can't stand that. You think I want to go live for over an hour and watch this show that I grew up loving? And just fucking bash it because nothing is making sense? It's illogical? It lacks any semblance of fucking believability or continuity? You start off with everybody in the Elimination Chamber coming down to the ring, and they all yell at each other like kids arguing at recess, and then it leads to what? Austin Theory gets the shit kicked out of him by Brock Lesnar for no reason. Take a selfie, that's it. Austin Theory didn't need to be fucking get his ass whooped by Brock to get people excited for the Elimination Chamber. Nobody is more excited after seeing Theory get F5'd and Suplex City bitched by Brock Lesnar. Nobody is more excited about the EC after that than they were going into that segment. That did nothing for the chamber. And you want to save Theory getting his ass whooped and somebody doing his selfie on him? You want to save that for a real Austin Theory one-on-one feud in the future, where somebody gets the best of him and does the selfie on him. Now we've already ruined it with Brock. Brock didn't need to do the selfie portion with Austin Theory. So anyway, that's the first 20 minutes of the show. And it just didn't get better. You started doing the fucking doll Alexa Bliss segment, which we'll get to in this review. Alexa, she's apparently cured. We're going to go over that. But you get the doll segment. You go into the Broga, the first segment of the Broga Party, the costume party. And by the time I went off the air last night with you guys live, I was not in the best of moods, man. And you saw something that you saw last week. It was a flow of anger and disappointment. Anger and disappointment is how we watched last night live together. Just like the week before. That's how I now watch Raw. It's half just infuriated at the decisions being made by VKM, and the other half is just disappointment because I know what this show used to be and I know what it could be. And it's disappointment, and that's probably the worst thing I can say about anything. If I'm disappointed in you, if I'm disappointed in an entity or a company, that's worse than anger. I remember growing up in the projects, and when you're in the projects, I mean, your parents have to know that you're going to get into some shit. So it wasn't that uncommon if if I got caught doing some extracurricular activity, rolling something, drinking something, and getting caught as a kid, you get your ass fucking beat, you get chewed out, you get verbally fucking whooped. You got yelled at. I mean, they were angry, your parents, right? My mother didn't tolerate that. You go to school, you whoop somebody's ass, you get suspended from school, your mother gets that phone call, right? Yeah, I got chewed out, I maybe got my fucking ass whooped. I wasn't the best of kids. And again, when you're in the projects, you're a product of your environment. All of us. If you grow up in a nice neighborhood, big old houses, white picket fence, you see the world differently than others. You are a product of your environment. Well, I grew up in projects, and you become a product of your environment. And, I would do one stupid thing after another, and I would get punished for it because my parents were angry. My mother was angry. I remember this one time, though, where I used to go to this, it was like a department store, and they would have all these wrestling figures. And now, again, projects, we didn't have a lot of money. That's just the bottom line. We didn't have enough money. I think the best thing I owned was a nice starter jacket. You guys remember the old school football starter jackets? I think they had them for NBA as well. They were starter. The brand was Starter, and it was a nice winter coat, pullover, and it had a Velcro pocket in the front. And you would open it up as a big front pocket on your coat. And I had this nice Green Bay Packer starter coat, and I would go into the department store. We didn't have money. I was just a little kid, too. My parents would be in one section. They would let me go and play in the toys, or look at the toys. I can't play in the toys. You have to rip them open and start playing with them. Fucking Hulk Hogan versus Randy Savage. I'm fucking having a wrestling match in the middle of the aisle. No, you couldn't play with them. But I would go and I would check them all out, see what I could not buy and could not afford, right? One day I'll be able to afford that $5 toy. So what I did, man, because all my friends were already doing it for weeks at that point, they were going to the convenience store and they were starting to put candy bars, ice cream, they were starting to fucking steal shit. Put it right in their big starter jackets. So I started, you're a product of your environment. I started going to this department store and I would start taking wrestlers. I would literally open the package, thought I was all slick, and I'd slip it right into my starter jacket. And every time we would go to this department store, I would get a new wrestler, maybe two. Until after time, my mom started realizing, wait, you're getting more and more toys, and I know I'm not buying you this. So she started asking questions. I started saying, yeah, we're just trading, or friends are giving me some, So, one night, we go to this store. It was on a whim, too. We just ate dinner, and we decided that they needed to pick something up. I wanted to go. We go to this store. They're mingling in one section. I say, I'm going to go over to the toys. I'm going to see if they have new wrestlers. I go over. They had a new wrestler. Maybe it was like Papa Shango. I think it was. Something like that. So I'm opening it up, right? I think I'm slick. Nobody's there. There's one person. He's at the end of the aisle. And she was oblivious. Looked like she was picking up a toy for maybe her kid. Didn't know what the fuck she was getting, right? She's probably looking for a wrestler for her nephew or something. And she's over with fucking checking out hockey players. So I'm like, she's all right. That's it. Looked around, nobody else. I opened the package. Open up my nice big starter jacket. Put that wrestler right in there again. I think it was Papa Shango, maybe Crush. Maybe it was Crush. He had a purple and yellow outfit, Crush. It was the old fucking plastic. But yeah, so maybe it was Crush. I forget. I don't know. Maybe it was both of them. Maybe it was. Maybe that's what got me fucking nabbed. Is that I got too greedy. But I put these motherfuckers in the starter jacket. And I'm about to turn and walk off to go find my dukes. And I hear, excuse me. And BC is like, yeah, I'm a kid. And I'm a wise ass because I'm a kid from the projects. You ain't gonna fucking excuse me. At 10 years old, I thought I could take the world on. You know how it is at that age. Especially if you're just a bad kid. Which I was. I'm like, what? She's like, it's not nice to steal you now. I go, okay. Bye. She goes, no. I mean, it's not nice to steal, And I knew she knew something. I'm like, okay. And I go to walk away again, and I hear, can you empty your pocket, please? I'm like, oh, fuck no, bro. I'm like, no, that's okay. She goes, no, really. Empty your pocket. I work here. She ended up being one of those little, not a mystery shopper, but she actually security, I guess, like store security. They dress as normal folk, and their job is just to walk around a store and see like who's up to something. And I thought she was just an oblivious older lady looking for a toy for her nephew, man. No, she knew I was up to some shit. Probably been eyeing me for weeks at that point. And so I knew I was nabbed. And she goes, are your parents here? Something like that. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. At that point, I knew I was nabbed. So I'm like, I'm not even going to bullshit. I have to say yes, because I'm thinking at that point, the cops are coming. You know what I mean? So they're going to be like, what's your parents' number? I'm going to have to be honest at that point and say they're in the store. So I told this bitch after she said she works there, I'm like, yeah, they're here. And she goes, I'll tell you what, you take me to them, and I'm going to make sure that no cops are called, and there'll be no repercussions. But take me to your parents. And I'm thinking right away, like, no, call the cop. No, let's leave the parents out of this. I'll fucking get cuffed right now, man. Put shackles. I don't give a fuck. Please don't go to my fucking parents for this. So, we finally find them, and it was like the walk of shame when I'm walking up, because my mom's like, what is he doing with this girl? Excuse me, why are you with my son? And she proceeds to tell my mom that I was stealing fucking toys, man. It was one of the worst situations I could ever imagine when you're that young. So where am I going with this, right? So you get home now, and I'm expecting the verbal ass whooping, right? I'm expecting to get yelled at to the point where the whole fucking neighborhood, the entire project, all 9 buildings of projects are going to hear this shit. And mind you, it's the project, so we're loud as fuck anyway, all of us. And I'm thinking, you're going to fucking, oh man, we're going to wake up everybody. And I'm going to get an ass whooping of some sort. I'm going to get a broom across the fucking head. I'm going to get a fucking TV across the back. Wooden chair. Fucking wooden chair comes across my neck. And then I'm going to get the belt. Instead, it was much worse. She didn't say a word. After a few hours, I said, aren't you going to yell at me? Something. She goes, no. I'm just disappointed. She left the room. I didn't get told I wasn't put in a corner. I didn't get my ass fucking whooped. I didn't get a verbal whooping. I wasn't told I'm grounded for a month, 2 months, 2 years, 10 years. I was told that she was disappointed. And there is nothing, and I assure you, I've been through it all since, man. Made more bad choices, been to prison, learned my lessons, thrived in the streets of Boston to the streets of New York City, every borough. You think you've been through it all by now, but I look back at that time and I was like, damn, that's worse than anger. I would have taken the verbal ass whooping, I would have taken the fucking physical ass whooping, but to have somebody you care about be disappointed in you, man, did that sting. And I never did get over that. My point in all of this, it's my fucking channel. I'll tell story time whenever the fuck I want for as long as I want. My point is, unfortunately, that is what it's come to in this organization. It's gotten to the point where I am disappointed when I watch. How sad is that? It's not even just anger anymore. It's sheer disappointment when I watch this. And you guys saw it last week and you saw it again last night. Disappointment at what I am viewing. Disappointment because I know what it could and should be. Should have been all along. Disappointment because I know where we could be going forward. And disappointment because I know that the old bastard at the head of the table, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, I know he just doesn't care. When we say business is business for McMahon and it's business as usual and everything is about the bottom dollar, he's looking at the conglomerates, the streaming services, yes, and the networks and the countries that are going to pay him. But his best deals are behind him. His best deals, his $1 billion blockbuster deals, they're behind him. We are pennies to Vince McMahon. He doesn't give a fuck if we show up to live events because he's getting rid of live events. He knows those are peanuts to him. He doesn't care if you buy merchandise on WWEshop.com. That's why you see buy one shirt for $5, get a second for free. You ever wonder why you're getting such deals? Vince doesn't give a fuck. He just wants you to have them to market around. You're going to pay money just to market his company. He doesn't care about the actual pennies you're going to bring him for t-shirts. He's beyond us. We are nothing to Vince McMahon. And until he sees us as an asset, as his audience that can help him and help his company get even bigger than it is, can help the company and at the same time get the WWE that we once loved, and until he sees us as that, man, it's gotten to the point where we now watch not just out of anger, but we are now disappointed. And that's the worst way that I can view anything that I love. I'm not going to stop watching, like I said, my Knicks, my Yankees, my Packers, who choked again in the playoffs. No, I'm not going to stop watching because they suck. I'm going to yell louder as a fan. I'm going to yell even louder as a critic. Until our words are heard and they can get better. We don't yell, hoot, and holler and rant because this is a shtick and we like to be negative. We do it because we love it and we want it to get better. And we know that nobody in those walls is giving a shit. Or if they do, they don't have the balls to stand up to Vince McMahon. One person did in the last 10 years that we heard of, and that was Shane McMahon. And he got told to walk away afterwards. And now it leads, it's funny, right? Or not so much, sarcasm there. How disgust and disappointment can lead to desperation. Because that's where Vinnie Mac is. Vince McMahon, VKM, he is at the point of desperation. Where he sees that his 2-day big conglomerate event, WrestleMania, he sees it's not selling out, not even day one. It's not projecting where he was hoping it was going to be. Why? It's because he has not built new stars over the last 2 decades. John Cena and Roman Reigns, those 50-50 superstars, is all he really has. He could have had so many. He refuses. He doesn't want anybody to feel that they're bigger than the company unless he handpicks you. So because Vince McMahon no longer has larger-than-life wrestlers, larger-than-life, anybody that actually feels like a superstar, right? This company likes to call its wrestlers superstars, but nobody feels super. Nobody's jumping off the screen for us. People that should be aren't even doing that. Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and so many others. They should feel so special when their music hits and they come through that curtain and down that aisle. We should feel a certain way. It is sad that people that BC respects and you respect, people like McIntyre, people like Big E, people like Lashley, it's sad that they feel like just another wrestler when they come through the curtain. You get no emotion out of your own self. You get no feeling. He refuses. Everybody is 50-50 booked into irrelevancy. And when you're 50-50 booked, nobody can look at you as a true winner. Nobody's really going to support you and jump on the bandwagon if you're losing every other week, or winning 3 weeks in a row and then losing 4 in a row, winning 2, losing 3 more, flip-flopping for an entire month, win, loss, win, loss. How the fuck are you going to gain anybody to jump on board and say he's badass? Vince McMahon has refused to build stars. So what has he done over the last 10 to 15 years up front? He sends Goldberg, right? AEW sends Hook. Vince McMahon sends Goldberg, right? He sends Brock Lesnar. And now we're hearing reports that he is sending Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's the latest reports. Not just that Austin is going to get physical at WrestleMania because it's in Texas. We're hearing reports that WWE tried to get him to wrestle. In fact, we have not got confirmation yet that Austin has fully refused. In the past, Austin said he's hesitant to do another match. He doesn't see it happening. But when he moved to his new house in Nevada, I believe it was, he moved from California to Nevada, wherever he just moved to, he actually had a ring constructed. He has posted pictures since of him in his attire taking bumps. It's almost like he's getting that itch again. WWE makes this offer, and it's to actually wrestle. Now, will it come to fruition? I don't know, but I absolutely see him showing up at WrestleMania. I can absolutely see Vince McMahon making the phone call to Austin. And why? Because he sees the ticket sales. Because he knows that nobody is really interested. It's WrestleMania season. It doesn't even feel like it to VKM. Even VKM knows, oh shit, I gotta call in some more blasts from the pasts. So here it is, WrestleMania season, and who's your top prospects? WrestleMania season, and who are we talking about, guys? Goldberg is who we're talking about. Going into Mania season, first and foremost, it's Elimination Chamber, and Goldberg is going for the fucking title. Goldberg in 2022, instead of building new stars, Goldberg is in your title match in 2022, and it's WrestleMania season. The other title? Brock Lesnar is going for that fucking title. Brock Lesnar won the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar's taken a spot inside the chamber. Brock Lesnar's story is supposed to be with Roman, but he's preoccupied with the fucking WWE title. Paul Heyman had a brilliant heel turn. He was already a fucking heel, kind of, but he had a beautiful turn at Royal Rumble when he handed Roman that belt and Roman clocked Brock with that championship. And that should have been the start of something amazing, because that is a good story to be told. And instead, an hour later, Brock comes out as for some reason, never been explained, the 30th entrant in the Royal Rumble. He tosses everybody over the top in 2 minutes, wins the Rumble, smiles and points up at the sign. An hour after Paul Heyman and Roman did him filthy, he's smiling. So that pretty much killed the whole storyline with Paul Heyman, Roman, and Brock. Brock doesn't even give a fuck about Roman right now. He's preoccupied with that title. And then when he wins it, he's good. I want title for title now. No. He's smiling. He's got his cowboy hat on last night. He's having the time of his life. He doesn't care if Paul Heyman turned on him. They killed that storyline an hour after it happened at the Royal Rumble. My point is, Goldberg's going for a championship here, and it's Mania season. Brock Lesnar's going for a championship. It's Mania season. They're both going to be at Mania. And Stone Cold Steve Austin is now being brought in, possibly for a match. Don't be shocked. That's the last word we got. Over the course of the last 9 hours, that news story broke. I believe that Sean Ross Sapp, by the way, he's usually pretty fucking reputable. Not just to come in and do some moves. Vince McMahon is asking, hey man, you want to do a fucking match? I mean, I need all hands on deck because I'm too stupid to build new stars. I refuse to do that. I don't want anybody to feel larger than the company. I can't allow them to have that type of power. I love Stone Cold Steve Austin, bro. Are you kidding me? As a kid, who did not emulate this guy, try to be this guy? Smashing beers, doing the oh hell yeah, walking like the son of a bitch, talking, whooping ass like the son of a bitch. Stone Cold is that guy. A man's man. I don't know if 1 week goes by that I talk about Raw that I don't talk about how it used to be when the glass shattered and Stone Cold would come out and how you were just captivated. The place would implode, explode. It would be amazing. You could feel the energy. You had goosebumps, out-of-body experience when Stone Cold's music would hit and that glass shattered. Every week, every Monday that I do a review, I mention that. But I didn't mean that I needed to see Stone Cold coming back at his age and his condition to wrestle more. What I meant, Vince, was that you need to create stars so we can feel that way again. It probably won't be the exact way of Austin. I don't see anybody reaching those heights. But at least try to build stars. And he knows the recipe to do such, he just refuses. But instead of making the next wave of superstars, people that could be in a category at least of the Stone Colds and the Rocks and the Undertakers, instead of doing that, he just continues to bring them out, and he stays stubborn and steadfast in not creating new stars. He'll keep bringing back the Goldbergs and the Lesnars and whoever else he can, even if it means plucking Stone Cold out of retirement. And it's been nearly 20 years. I believe his last match was The Rock 2003, maybe? 2003, I believe. And this is what it's come to. Of course, we're going to pop. We're going to mark the fuck out when we hear the glass shatter at WrestleMania. and Stone Cold, and we're going to get giddy to know that Stone Cold's in a match, of course, and that's what Vince is banking on. Even BC's going to be like, damn, I gotta see this. But how are you not sad at the same time that this is what it's come to in 2022, that it is WrestleMania season in 2022? You think about the roster that they have of young individuals that are ready to rock. You think about all of the individuals that had so much talent that got released over the last year. Think about the talent that has been released over the last year. The Karrion Crosses, the Keith Lees, the Bray Wyatts, even John Morrison, who's just out of his prime maybe. But how much he still had to offer. Think about all the releases for the females, the Ember Moons, the Mickie James, even at her age. And she can help elevate youngsters too. I mean, Mickie James is one of the... Mickie James and John Morrison. Those are the two people that, like, they might not be in their prime per se, but they can still give you 20, 25, 30-minute classics if need be and raise and elevate the people you need to be superstars going forward. So they're not only getting rid of the people that can literally be the platform for that, they're the Keith Lees and the Karrion Crosses, they're getting rid of the actual future superstars as well. So they're getting rid of the building blocks and the foundation. I hope this makes sense. And what's their answer? Take the money that they saved from releasing all of them and give all of that money to the past superstars. Are you guys seeing how ass backwards this is? Of course, man. I love hearing the Goldberg music hit and seeing this fucking nut come out. I love hearing the Brock music and seeing him bounce around like a nut. I love hearing the glass shatter and seeing Stone Cold fucking strut, power walk. The most badass of ways down that ramp. Man, goosebumps, right? I love it. That needs to take a back seat. All of that needs to take a back seat in 2022 to future superstars. Because we will have nobody to call in 10 years from now when you need to do a Legends night, or when you need to do a Hall of Famers night, or a Blast from the Past's night, or you need to call on a past talent that was a big name. You're going to have nobody in 10, 15, 20 years. Nobody. Nobody's going to be Hall of Fame worthy. Nobody's going to be deemed a legend. Then again, this is the same company that calls people... I'm not even going to go into names, man. Everybody's a legend as long as you've been in the company for 2 weeks. I love Stone Cold. It's just sad that the company is resting on this because they see ticket sales and they see the dwindling numbers in their ratings. They know their fan base is upset, and they know why, but they double down. Vince McMahon stays stubborn, and he gives us more scooter races. He gives us more quizzes. He gives us more fucking chases for the 24/7 championship. He gives us water gun fights and dancing dewdrops. He gives us bunny rabbits and wrestlers in costumes like trash cans and Christmas trees. He gives us food fights. Instead of giving us captivating television. And in 2022, it's WrestleMania season, and it doesn't feel that way, and we're all kind of asking each other, dude, is it me, or does this not feel right? And word is getting back to Vince, and his answer is Goldberg, Brock, Stone Cold. What about Batista? Is he around? Is he still doing movies? Get Batista. Where's Hulk Hogan? Vince, he can barely walk these days, man. Who cares? Have him go out there. 3 punches, a clothesline, and drop the leg, damn it. Tell him we'll give him $1 million. I saved $1 million from cutting Bray Wyatt. Fuck the future. Where's Roddy Piper? Vince, Roddy's no longer with us. Well, find him. No, he's really no longer with us, Vince. Damn it, find him. Damn it, dig him up, damn it. I want Roddy Piper. These are legends. I love all of them, man. It's sad in 2022 that this is where we're at, that he released the names that he released last year, that the names that are in that roster right now are getting the treatment that Big E has been reduced to where Big fucking E is, bro. Big E. Think about where he was a month ago. Still not getting the time of day as champion, but at least he had the fucking title. You were hoping that at some moment Vince was gonna finally give him the time of day. No, he drops the fucking title. He quietly moves over to the blue brand into a tag team, and now he's going for tag titles soon. Big E. Lashley. Look at his title reign. He gets it back because everything got clusterfucked when Roman got the 19. So Bobby somehow gets the championship. I doubt very much he's walking out of Saturday's event with it. And even if he does, it's being dropped at Mania. Either way, he's a transitional champion. And he'll be right back to the beginning of the line. They don't know if he's face or heel every fucking week anyway. It's fucking sad. This has been nearly an hour cold open. This is an hour of just a lot that I needed to get off my fucking chest, man. This was an hour of shit that needed to be said. I watched last night live with you guys for that first hour, and when I went off the air and I watched the final 2 hours, I now watch not just out of fucking anger and just confusion, which is how I used to watch, befuddledness. I now watch out of disappointment. I am disappointed in this company. I am disappointed in the old bastard in Stanford, and I'm disappointed with everybody who refuses to stand up to the motherfucker and say, this is not right, dude. This product sucks, and this show is horseshit. It is in the garbage, and it should remain there. You should be embarrassed to be putting this show on the air live to all of us. If I'm in that company, if I have anything to do with that show, I would be embarrassed to put that on the air. Let me get a bigger swig of coffee, and we're going to go over the last 2 hours. Again, hour number 1 is up on the channel. That was a live reaction. Go check that out later. I was none too happy. And then I went over the notes, which is just 1 page of the last 2 hours. I can't fucking believe it. This is where we've come to, man. So this shouldn't take that long. That hour-long cold open, that was much longer. Perhaps I should have done it live, man. Then again, with your guys' feedback, it probably would have went 2 fucking hours. But let me get a big swig of coffee and we'll go over the last 2 hours of this shit show. So hour number 2 for the Valentine's Day edition of Raw, February 14th, 2022. Started with a contract signing between Becky Lynch and Lita. Just like last week, they played their roles pretty damn good. They had the table set up, contract signing. They're going to do the same thing on SmackDown between the 4 participants of one of the newest matches for Elimination Chamber, Ronda Rousey and Naomi versus Charlie Flair and Sonia Deville. So that was a match that was announced after SmackDown last week. And they had a contract signing. There was a big botch, too, during that. That was a tape show because the crew was going to be flying out to Saudi Arabia early Friday morning. They will not be doing a live SmackDown because of that. So that was taped last week, and there was a big botch there between Ronda and Charlie. And I'm hearing that it's already been edited out for SmackDown Friday. So you will not be seeing that botch when it airs. But it's probably floating around somewhere. But they had a contract signing as well, so they're doing these contract signings. Nothing really happened here, man. Becky Lynch was playing up the injury that Lita gave her last week, and she was putting on the puss face, and she's not happy, and there was a little bit of anger in her. So Becky Lynch continues to nail it. I mean, she's caught a lot of flack, man. She's not a believable heel character, I'm hearing. She's boring and this and that. I think this is a better version than face Becky. Face Becky is nauseating. Heel Becky, way more than believable. I don't know what people are saying when they say she's not believable. I don't know what planet you're coming from on that. She's absolutely believable, man. She's playing every aspect to a T. She's perfect at that delusional type, you know? Like she honestly thinks like she's better than everybody. She thinks that the crowd knows it and they're just not giving her the respect for some reason. She's, you know, that could be funny at the same time. But more than anything, it's effective. You know, that type of delusion is always good in a heel. You know, you want your heel to believe in their own shit and how absurd it is. So Becky is way more than Bliss. So she nailed it again last night. And Lita, obviously, man, to be thrusted into this position, it goes back to what I said in the cold open, that we're in 2022 and Vince is panicking because of ticket sales and the ratings are still continuing to plummet, and it's WrestleMania season and these numbers are dropping. So he's got the Goldbergs back. He's got the Brock Lesnars. He's calling Stone Cold Steve Austin for a match. Which, by the way, I'll get to that in a second. He's calling Stone Cold. And then he's got Lita. They literally asked Lita after the Royal Rumble. They said, do you want to have a match with Becky? That shows you how long-term planning they are, right? At Royal Rumble, they asked Lita if she would. This is what she said in an interview recently. They asked her at the Royal Rumble. Or around that time. If you want to have a match with the champion next month in a few weeks. She's like, sure. They have to bring back Lita. And again, it's great to see them. And I'll always welcome them back for exhibition matches or whatever. But this is, I mean, they're depending on these past talents for championship matches. Goldberg, Brock, Stone Cold, Lita. If they can get Trish, they'll bring her back. They refuse to invest in new talent for future superstars, actual superstars, with the word super emphasis. Or emphasized. I can speak. Larger than life, jumping off your screen. They refuse. So even the women's division, man, they need Lita. Because they put themselves into a pickle. They back themselves into a corner. And by the way, that Stone Cold thing, I didn't even bring this up real quick. Kevin Owens is involved in this storyline against Texas. That's right. How do you not feel bad for Owens? He's in a storyline with Texas. His big shtick last night was, I lied last week when I said I love Texas. I can't stand Texas. Well, gets me thinking, if Stone Cold is being asked to come back for a match, Kevin Owens makes sense, right? I mean, you could say he tried to steal his stunner. Stunner versus stunner. I already see Vince. This is how he books shit. Like a fucking 8-year-old with a crayon. Stunner versus stunner. It'll sell out the place. Mr. Texas is obviously Stone Cold. So if Vince cannot secure Stone Cold for a match against Owens, I still think Owens is going to be the one that Stone Cold comes down the aisle and at least gives a stunner, right? If Vince cannot secure Stone Cold for a match, you're at least going to see Owens come to the ring at WrestleMania, talk for 5 minutes a bunch of shit about Texas, and then Stone Cold's glass will shatter, he'll come down, he'll give a few stunners, he'll have a beer bash, and that'll be a fun little segment for everybody. But last report is we're hearing that Vince wants him for a match. But it just got me thinking with this whole Texas Kevin Owens thing, I wouldn't be shocked if Stone Cold is going to save the day for Texas. You could always have The Undertaker come out and tombstone him too. You know, and then it'd be Stone Cold and Austin Theory. Right? Vince McMahon is his new protege, Austin Theory, but here comes his nemesis from the past, Stone Cold. You could do something like that and have Undertaker, who's also a Texas boy, plant Kevin Owens. But then you're just relying on old talents. I mean, you know, it's good at WrestleMania to have those moments, especially with the legends. The problem, again, is that Vince is resting on these past superstars. He's putting them in title match. He feels like he needs to have them, and that's the problem in 2022. If you need to have the past, you're not building for the future. Anyway, Lita nailed it last night. Becky nailed it. Nothing of significance really happened, though. Nothing worth talking about. Becky ends up walking off. Lita's celebrating. That was really it. And the rest of the hour, the whole second hour, was the gauntlet match for the women. And whoever wins gets one of the last 2 spots. I thought it was the last spot. Apparently there was 2 spots left open. And what I want to do too, if you don't mind, I want to see the participants in this women's Elimination Chamber match. So the participants, Liv Morgan is in this match already. Rhea Ripley is in this match. Bianca Belair's in this match. And Doudrop is in this match. And Nikki Ash. So the Gauntlet match last night was to see who goes last then. My bad. It was not for 1 of 2 spots. There was only 1 spot, and that would end up going to Alexa. I'll go over that in a few minutes. So this was just to see, I guess, who went last. See what I mean? That's how disengaged BC was. I was honestly thinking that it was to get a spot in there, but then I realized, that's why I just looked it up now. I'm like, wait a second, wasn't everyone in that match already in the match? So this was obviously, must have been anyway, to see who goes last in the chamber. So right there, you're ruining the surprise at the chamber. So was this needed? No, this was an easy way out for Vince. He didn't have to book a whole hour of television. Just have them go out there and have 5 matches in 1 hour. Less than an hour. Because of that contract signing, this was under 50 minutes. 5 matches. 4 or 5. I don't even fucking know, bro. Rhea Ripley won a bunch. How many was it? Let's see. Let's go over it real quick, right? Ripley defeats Ash first. So Rhea Ripley defeats Nikki Ash. Then Rhea Ripley defeats Liv Morgan. Morgan looked great with her Ultimate Warrior colors, by the way. She looked amazing. She's an amazing wrestler. I keep seeing her get better and better somehow. And she's already been running on the highest of cylinders with the biggest of momentum. I wish Vince would just take that, look at that, and go, damn, I gotta run with this. Liv Morgan is just fucking amazing. She even has the look, man. I love that getup she was in, man. Reminded me of just the Warrior colors from back in the day, man. But anyway, Rhea Ripley defeats Nikki Ash. Rhea Ripley defeats Liv Morgan next. Rhea Ripley then defeats Doudrop. She actually gave the motherfucker a riptide. Didn't get her too high, but she gave Doudrop a riptide, bro. Think about that. And then fucking stacked her up like a fucking stack of dimes, man. Put her legs down by her fucking head. Doudrop hasn't been in that position since high school, bro. So 3 matches in a row, Rhea Ripley defeats the uber-talented Nikki Cross. Despite what you see now on television with this almost superhero character, Nikki Cross is actually a badass wrestler. She defeats her. She defeats Liv Morgan, who's one of the best fucking wrestlers as far as momentum today. She's fucking rocking. Liv Morgan right now is on all cylinders. Again, I just hope that McMahon sees it and rolls with her. Ride that shit to the moon, as Cameron Grimes would say. And then Doudrop, Piper Niven, who's a badass wrestler, actually. If you get away from the dancing and then the stupid gimmickry that Vince has put her in, Piper Niven's pretty damn good. Rhea Ripley has a pretty good performance here. Bianca Belair steps in to do the kids' dirty work, the job that nobody else could get done. And Bianca Belair defeats Ripley with a KOD. That was the longer of the matches. And again, it was good. The whole Gauntlet match was good if you're talking about just for what the performers went out there and did. They did what they had to do. They did what was asked of them. There was some good wrestling in it. But the problems far outweigh it. First and foremost, what is this doing for the excitement of the Elimination Chamber? First of all, you're seeing all of them wrestle each other 5 nights before. So you're ruining that. On top of that, you're giving away the last participant, the surprise. Again, I think that's what they were wrestling for last night, guys. If I'm wrong, then a BC botch. Then I don't know what they were wrestling for then, because it's all of them that were already in there. They're not wrestling for a spot. So they're wrestling for, it must be for last place. Who's going to go last in the chamber? So you're ruining that as well. So you're seeing them all wrestle each other 5 nights before, ruining that surprise. Then you're ruining who's going to be last in the chamber. You're ruining that. And then on top of that, you're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 matches in just over 45 minutes. 4 matches. And if it wasn't for that last one, you're talking about 5-minute matches, bro. Tops. I guess that's better than the 2 minutes ending with a fruit roll-up, though. So you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. I'll take those 5-minute matches. And then Belair is, I guess Belair's going last. I mean, that is what the deal is, right? Please hold, man. I gotta hold. I don't want to be wrong here. Yes, entering last. So it's going to be Bianca Belair entering last. I can confirm that. I just got confirmation. Bianca Belair will be going last in the Okay, well. I love Bianca Belair. This is a pro Bianca Belair channel. You know that, man. So I'm going to support anything with Bianca. I just, man, this just seemed like a cheap way out. You know, just to throw a gauntlet match for no fucking reason. And when it's all said and done, this actually hurt the Elimination Chamber match for Saturday. You already saw them all getting it on. We already know who's going in last. This did nothing but hurt that match. But gauntlet matches usually will keep people, occupied. Because they always do the same formula. One person is always usually winning several matches till the very end, Once in a while, they might win them all. I mean, you can't say that's not the best Rhea Ripley looked since she's been on the main roster. So, you can look at some of the positives in this, but there's so many wrongs with what it leads to for the pay-per-view, the premium event. That's what I'm upset about, man. There was no reason to put everybody in there together. You could have gotten a creative way to have a cool, badass segment that adds tension with all of them. Instead, let's just have 4 or 5 matches in 45 minutes. Makes sense. And that was the whole second hour. That's what I mean about what am I supposed to write about? I mean, that's it. Ripley defeated Ash. Ripley defeats Liv Morgan. Fucking Ripley defeats Doudrop. Bianca Belair KODs Ripley, and that's it. That's an entire hour. 1/3 of the show done. Backstage, we're back at the Broga Party. This is your 3rd hour, folks. Matt Riddle is singing a folk song while playing a guitar. Matt Riddle is playing a fucking guitar, while Commander Sneeze and Apollo are giggling over fucking chocolate-covered cherries. They're each other's Valentine or something. I don't even know what was going on. Commander Sneeze and Apollo are like, wow, I have more chocolate on my strawberry. I think I have, well, maybe you're right, actually. Should I double dip? They're fucking. Carmella, sexy as ever, by the way. Man, she can be in a toga all she wants. She fucking doing her cosmetic, her makeup. I don't even know who else was there. There was a lot of the roster, man. It's sad. I couldn't even see. I didn't even want to. They're all dressed in togas. It's sad. If business was great, guys. If ratings were fucking through the roof because we were all captivated and there's larger-than-life superstars and the stories are captivating us and we can't wait to get to the pay-per-view, the premium event, to see these feuds culminate in epic moments and matches. If business was booming, we'll take this giggly shit, right? BC, maybe even we'll giggle. I'll giggle. Back in the Attitude Era, you guys got to remember, there was a lot of comedy stupid shit. A lot of that shit. Okay, I remember fucking, what was it, somebody giving birth to a hand? I think I recall, maybe it was Mae Young. I don't fucking know. I used to see fucking Mae Young getting powerbombed through tables, Team 3D style. I remember Triple H having sex with a corpse. It's a long story. Katie Vick. You can Google it. Anyway, I remember some absurd shit, guys. There was groups like Spirit Squad. Listen, we can giggle when business is booming, or at least not as bad as it is today. We'll laugh. Bring in the stupid schmuckery. But when business is so bad, and you're not just doing 1 or 2 segments of schmuckery, your show is based around the giggly goofball shit. That's where BC says, hello, red flag is being waved here. We're trying to sound the alarm. This is not good. Like, we're trying to tell the owner of this is why ratings suck. This is why your viewers are not happy. This is why you can't sell out these arenas. This is why. Help us help you. Just listen. I've never been so happy to see Gable and Otis. They crashed the party and they flattened Riddle. The rest of the roster, as if it wasn't embarrassing enough to be dressed like college stoners in bed sheets, because that's what they were dressed as, college stoners in bed sheets. As if it wasn't embarrassing enough to be such, they actually ran away when Otis and Gable showed up. People like Apollo and Commander Sneeze actually ran away with everyone. They were scared of Gable and Otis. They all ran away. Oh my goodness. The party, it's like a college party, right? Dude, it's the cops! And everybody starts running away. Gable and Otis were playing the roles of the cops. And everybody runs away. But I've never been happier to see those motherfuckers. Because at least it ended that fucking Broga Toga bullshit. And we continued on, man. If you didn't giggle from the Toga party, the very next segment, right after the Toga party, guys, there wasn't anything between. The very next segment was a 24/7 title chase in a nearby restaurant. Ninja Tozawa and Tamina dressed as the Hendersons, like the couple down the block who just went out for Valentine's dinner, and they're dressed up like the Hendersons. Like they got the big house at the quarter sack with the nice white picket fence, the pristine, freshly cut green grass in the yard, maybe a couple dogs barking in the back, right? They got it made in life. That's what they're Tamina and Ninja Tozawa, that's how they're dressed up. I don't know. R-Truth, I believe, was there. Maybe he was a waiter or a cook or the fucking maintenance guy on the top of the roof getting electrocuted. Who knows where R-Truth was? I believe he was in this shit. And Reggie and Dana Brooke are having a Valentine's Day meal. And when it was all said and done, Reggie fruit roll-ups Dana Brooke and becomes the new 24/7 title. And then everybody starts chasing. First it was Dana, and then everyone started chasing, Reggie, because they were having dinner. So everybody starts chasing Reggie out of the building. That's what it was. Out of the restaurant. Now, could you imagine if they used that restaurant to actually progress a real story? Like you're doing a documentary of a superstar and you want it to feel real intimate, right? So they're at a restaurant, and they're doing a scene, and maybe they're just eating or having a drink and they're telling you their story, right? Maybe the career of Finn Balor, right? And he talks about the demon and then all just his whole career from his roots to where he is today. Something. I'm just using Finn Balor as an example, right? Just take somebody. Put him in that restaurant. They're filming a documentary. Maybe they're doing something for Peacock, right? Like they used to do for the Table of Three, and they used to sit down wrestlers and they would just tell stories. So a couple of wrestlers, they're telling stories. And somebody they're in a feud with actually shows up to the restaurant and fucks the dude up. Like legit beating this fucker up at a restaurant. And it's real. Like other patrons are screaming. They're calling for the cops and it feels real. And you're like, damn, they went all out in this restaurant. Could you imagine if we got something realer? Realer than Stone Cold beating up Booker T in a supermarket. Even realer. There was some comedy there, obviously, because you could play that with Stone Cold and Booker. But if you are going to take the time, I mean, this is what I always ask this company to do. Get out of the ring. Go into the area that you're putting on your show, whatever city, whatever town. See if there's a restaurant or a bar or just a place where you can film something cool to advance a storyline. They actually took the time to go to this restaurant. Maybe this was right backstage actually at the arena. Who knows? It looked like a restaurant. I mean, there was a shit ton of booths. The hallway looked like a restaurant-ish type of area. It looks like they were in a place. If you're going to take the time and the effort to do that, just do it right, man. Make it for a big storyline that we actually care about, that we're going to look back at 2-3 weeks from now, 3 years and go, do you remember that time when? Like we do at Stone Cold and Booker T in the supermarket. We're never going to forget that. I remember when APA used to have the barroom brawls. I remember when The Rock threw the IC title over the fucking bridge, remember? And Stone Cold had to go get it or something. I forgot who it was, maybe. Maybe I don't remember as good. It was years ago. But I still remember that situation where somebody was calling somebody out. They threw the belt over the river. Whoever made it this far into the review, let me know exactly who it was. I thought it was The Rock. He was trying to goat Stone Cold to come to this bridge or whatever, and he threw the fucking title over the bridge. Some shit like that. But you have a restaurant. You're bringing in the camera crew. You're bringing in all your wrestlers. Make it good. Produce good television. All of that time and energy was for this shittery, this gimmickry, this goofiness, for a giggle. It could have been so much more better, and they wasted this on a fucking 24/7 chase scene. A 24/7 chase segment. And Reggie rolls up Dana Brooke. That's the closest his hand was going to get to Dana Brooke's "How You Doing" on Valentine's Day. But he got close enough to at least get some prize, the gold. He didn't get her coochie patoochie, but he did get that championship. Now he can go to Target, find the toy aisle, and put that shit with the rest of the toys on the shelf. Because that's all that title is. It's not prestigious to be looked upon as anything else, or anything more prestigious, or even as prestigious. No, it's nothing more than a toy that you would get at Target. The only difference is the toy you get at Target will probably be more meaningful. Coffee's kicking in. That was back-to-back. Back-to-back, a Toga Broga costume party, right into a restaurant chase segment. Everyone's chasing Dana Brooke or Reggie. And then we went right into Alexa Bliss getting more therapy, and the therapist finally says, you've been cured, but make sure you never leave, or Lily never leaves your side. As long as you have Lily, you're cured. So she's like, oh, I'm cured, thanks. And she's like, wait, isn't there one more spot left in the Elimination Chamber? I know what I'm doing Saturday. That's exactly what Alexa said. And then like 20 minutes later, they confirm it. They confirm that Alexa, she just left therapy and they're already putting her in a match. I mean, I'm thinking storyline-wise, right? Storyline-wise, don't you want to make sure she's good? They find out she's fucking cured. Just like if somebody's breaking their bones and they're finally cleared for action. And Vince is like, good, we need you on the road Thursday. And they just got cleared like that Wednesday afternoon. We need you on the road tomorrow. You don't want to give me a couple more extra weeks just to heal this mother? No, we need you now. Hey, buddy. Vince doesn't give a fuck, bro. So storyline-wise, it makes no sense. She literally just left therapy and goes, isn't there a spot open? 20 minutes later, she's in the... I mean, did she just call Adam Pearce and go, yeah, I'm coming back. Put me in the title match. Never mind all the ladies that aren't in it, who have been there the last 6 months. Just doesn't make sense storyline-wise. But I like Alexa Bliss. Ever since she was with Bray Wyatt, I saw a whole nother side of her, and I jumped on board. I like Alexa. I don't like... If she's going to play like a Bray Wyatt type character like she was before she took off, I don't like that. I think it's disrespectful to Bray. That was Bray's baby, and to just chuck him aside like he was yesterday's newspaper into the garbage, I don't feel right about that. I think there needs to be a huge twist to Alexa's character, and we'll see what they produce this Saturday, man, how she comes out and what she portrays. But I don't mind Alexa, man. I actually like Alexa Bliss. Just like that. I mean, and what this is, they didn't plan this out better, and they should have. 5 days, not even nights, because this goes on during the morning/daytime this Saturday. 12 p.m. Eastern time is when this premium event takes place. 5 days before, and they just have her be cured, and then she's just thrusted into the match. I told you guys she was a heavy favorite to win the Royal Rumble. I told you guys weeks leading up to the Rumble, she was one of the heavy favorites. And that wasn't just BC's word. You look at Vegas's betting odds. Vegas actually had Alexa Bliss at number 3, 48. I think, what was it, 36 at one when I put that video out? 36, we'll say. Probably even 24 hours leading up to it. But I know factually, 36 hours before the event, Alexa Bliss was in the 3rd highest betting spot. Alexa Bliss was that heavy, proving that what BC was hearing was accurate. And then, of course, Ronda came back, and that all got flipped upside down. Fox needed new stars. Charlotte was heavily trying to get her back as well. And all the chips fell to where Ronda was like Liz Rock. And so they did all of this therapy shit. And my point is, I wouldn't be shocked if Alexa not only comes back Saturday, but wins that thing. Don't be shocked if Alexa Bliss actually wins that Elimination Chamber match, guys. That would go right to what BC was hearing for the Rumble. She was supposed to win the Rumble. And again, I don't usually say that type of news unless I know for a fact that there's substance behind it. She was a heavy favorite. And this shows you she's thrusted into the Elimination Chamber. There's a good chance she's going to win this thing. Which at that point would all but confirm what I knew. She was absolutely going to be the first person to win that Rumble until plans change. But we'll see. You know, I think Bianca Belair also makes the most ton of sense. That was the initial match. Once we knew that Ronda was taking on Charlie, the upfront match was supposed to be Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. So all signs are pointing to Bianca. And then they've been running these house show matches where Bianca, Becky, and maybe Doudrop, or Rhea Ripley, I think it is. They've been having triple threat matches. And usually when you do that leading up to a pay-per-view, usually that means that that's going to be the match. And they're kind of rehearsing everything and seeing what works and doesn't. So don't be shocked if you see a triple threat as well. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Becky Lynch for the title. Triple threat match at Mania. So a couple of things not to be totally shocked about. And again, that just doesn't... I hate schmaz matches. Can't stand schmaz matches. So that'll do nothing for BC, man. One-on-one, it's a champion versus a number one contender. Why muddy the waters? Why blur the lines? I'll tell you why. It's because Vince doesn't get creative. He doesn't even want to take the time to get creative. He doesn't want to spend that type of energy. It's easier to just throw everybody out there. Make it a 3-way, a 4-way, a 10-way, a 25-way, a 47-way, a 106-way. Gable and Otis defeat the Mysterios. Gable pins Dominic via a crossbody roll-up. So Dominic's way up high. He does the fucking high-flying crossbody, and Gable is able to, like, turn it over, and he gets him right to a roll-up. You know, Gable just flips right over because the momentum was it was so intense that Gable was able to flip over, and then he just literally rolls him up, grabs the tights, and he holds him down. It's a crossbody roll-up. Go figure. And Dominic just loses, man. Post-match, because Miz and Maurice, always good to see Maurice, and Miz, but Maurice, they were on commentary. And after the match, Miz throws Dominic over the top rope and then skull-crushing finales Rey Mysterio. Afterwards, about 25 minutes later approximately, Rey Mysterio versus The Miz was made for Elimination Chamber Saudi. So that's an actual match now, guys. Rey Mysterio versus The Miz. That's just a Raw match. That's nothing more than a Raw match. But this is just... It's like a glorified house show, a lot of these matches for Saudi that we're going to have to fucking watch on Saturday. The weird tag match with Sonia, Deville, and Charlie. As much as I love Naomi. And I even like Ronda. But it's just a weird tag match. I mean, if Charlie and Ronda are taking on each other at Mania, I don't want to. Not only do I not need to, I don't want to see them weeks before getting it on. It just doesn't make sense, and it muddies the waters, and it makes it less special when it gets to Mania. But you're going to have that match. You're going to have matches like Rey Mysterio and Miz. And there's a few other ones that are just weird, like Madcap Moss and Drew McIntyre is a match for the Blue Brand at Elimination Chamber. At least they made that, I believe, like no Falls Count Anywhere. Something like that. No DQ, no count out, some shit. So they added a layer to it, but it's still Madcap Moss versus Drew McIntyre. That's a match that you would just see on SmackDown, just like Miz and Ray. So a few of these matches are just being thrusted out there just so they can parade the wrestlers in Saudi. And then we went into, where was this? Oh yeah, it was just the main event, man. The back of just one page. That's all it took to do these last 2 hours. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. Let me get a swig because this just frustrates me, man. Rollins and Orton was obviously a good match. That's obvious, right? I mean, that's not... It's two of the best wrestlers in the world. They really are. Orton still to this day, and obviously Rollins, man, still in his prime. But I just couldn't find any way imaginable to care. There's no other way for BC to put it other than blunt, amplified honesty as always. I couldn't find any way imaginable to care, and I tried. I tried throughout this entire match, which was 20-ish minutes approximately. Indiana tried. The crowd in attendance tried. And most of you anyway, probably tried to care. But if you go back and watch and listen, not just listen but watch, not just watch but listen to that crowd. Watch Indiana, listen to Indiana during that match, watch them. They were bored. It was boring. I was bored. Most of you were bored. I can't believe I'm saying these words. Two of the best wrestlers to ever do this wrestling thing. And VKM somehow found a way to make us not care. It's the best way I could put it. VKM found a way to take Rollins and put him in a ring and make us not care. Why are they wrestling? In the main event, much less. A match we've seen so many times in the past, once even at WrestleMania, I think that was San Francisco, when Rollins went to do the stomp, and Orton thrust it up, and Rollins went flying in the air into an RKO. Badass. I think that started the WrestleMania. That was the first match, I believe. Again, I think that was San Fran. But why are we seeing that match last night? A match we've seen so many times, a rematch. Why is it in the main event? And this is all to progress RK-Bro and Alpha Academy? You know, as I'm reviewing that, I'm trying to honestly think, like, what was I missing last night? Maybe I can correct that now. Maybe I can look back at it and go, maybe I was looking at it differently. The pieces are starting to come together, right? This puzzle is starting to format much better now. I can't. Here we are the next morning, and I can't make any more sense than I did last night out of this. Why is it happening? This is all to progress RK-Bro versus Alpha Academy. A match we've seen in every variation too many times already, by the way. This show is telling us that RK-Bro is the highlight of Raw. How sad is that? Every week, these shows are revolving around the giggling gimmickry of goofy Matt Riddle and his daddy Randy Orton. Randy! Every week, the shows are revolving around that gimmick. RKBroga Party. RK-Bro scooter races. RK-Bro Jeopardy. RK-Bro... I'm getting fucking choked up just fucking thinking about this obnoxiousness. We'll pound more coffee. How's that? RK-Bro... What's next? An RK-Bro relay race? RK-Bro Yahtzee? RK-Bro Monopoly? Every week we're revolving around this, man. I know gone are the days of the glass shattering. Gone are the days of the gong hitting. And here comes the Undertaker. Gone are the days of the Roddy Pipers and the Ric Flairs. Gone are the days of the Eddie Guerreros. Gone are the days of somebody coming through that curtain that we give a fuck about. But when you're revolving every show around this obnoxiousness, bro, absurdity, shit that cannot be taken as something that we should jump on board with, shit that cannot be taken seriously. Oh, man. I'm just done with these shows revolving around obnoxious stupidity. Booking for a preschooler. Booking for a children's birthday party. I'm done with the quizzes and the trivia. I'm done with the scooter races. I'm done with the costume parties. If it's one segment, one and done, 10 minutes, get it over with. But no. These are segments that are owned by the entire fucking show. And the ratings are not showing that it's a success at all. So why do we keep doing it? Because you got schmucks who go to these fucking shows and they go, RKBroga. There was a chant last night that said, Broga. There was people loving it. But by the end of the night, watch that same crowd. Even the fucking ones that pay their money to be trained SEALs and clap at everything and chant for everything, even at the end of the night, they were put to sleep. Go back to that main event. Rollins versus Orton. A damn good main event, you would think. Even though it's a match we've seen so many fucking times, it should be a damn good main event. It should have a good story. It should be rooted into a deep storyline. It should have meaning for what's to come in the future. Especially if you have a pay-per-view special premium event in 5 days. Instead, there was no reason to have that match. They weren't involved in anything together. Randy Orton is involved in a tag team match that we've already seen 1,000 times. Rollins is involved in some weird fucking Elimination Chamber match. But yet we're going to stick them together, and when it's all said and done, it leads to nothing for the future. Go back and watch this match. Watch and listen to that crowd. Better yet, go and watch and listen to the finish of that match. Watch that crowd and listen to them during the finish. As Raw went off the air to Rollins' music and everyone was thinking the same thing. That's it? That's the show? It's over? Like that? What was this supposed to accomplish? For real. What was this supposed to accomplish? The crowd did not know what to think when it was all said and done and Rollins' music is playing and everyone's like, what's... Okay. Alpha Academy, and is that supposed to make me give a fuck about Alpha Academy versus RK-Bro? Seth Rollins wins a match at the end of Raw. Is that supposed to make me more excited for the Elimination Chamber? Nothing interesting happened at the finish that would make you give a fuck, A. But B, get you excited for the premium event in 5 days. There was no cliffhanger. There was no emotion. It was so bad that Vince McMahon had Corey Graves. It was so silent. All you heard is Rollins' music. Everyone was like, huh? Vince McMahon had Kevin Dunn pull away from the crowd, get a close-up of Rollins, and Vince McMahon had Corey Graves start singing Rollins' song as we went off the air. And it was so silent that all you could hear now was Corey Graves going, oh, 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 and that's how we went off the air. Not only did it leave no excitement for the future, not only did it not serve a purpose for that night, that was actually just bad. It was a pathetic way to end a show. So not only was it just not good, it was a pathetically bad and awful way, an ugly way to end a show. How dare that's your go-home show to this? How dare that would be any show? I don't care if that's a Christmas edition and you're only planning on 1 million people watching. How dare you produce such trash? One of the worst finishes I've ever seen in this show's history, and that's saying something because every week seems to top a new low. That's your fucking review. for this fucking shit show. BC Amplified. I'm not going to waste another fucking ounce of your guys' day, man. Go out, whoop that ass. I'm going to have to pound more coffee. I'm going to pound the rest of this fucking iced coffee. I'm going to go and get a nice hot Starbucks after this. And we're just going to whoop a lot of ass, man. What I would like to do. This is what I would like to do. I'm 90% sure I'm going to do this. But there still is that 10% that is leaving me not able to confirm it. But this weekend, because it is a daytime, morning to daytime pay-per-view premium event, I just am not going to be able to do a good, the bad, and the ugly within the following 24 hours. I have too much planned Saturday night and Sunday, all of Sunday. So what I'm hoping to do, guys, is a live reaction, live stream of all or nearly all of the Elimination Chamber. At least a couple of hours. I hope to do the whole thing. But I want to hang this weekend during the Elimination Chamber live. You guys really enjoy the Raw live reactions. I say, why not do it on a pay-per-view scale? And if I can't do a good, the bad, and the ugly for at least 24 hours after, then it's this way or no way. It's either this or there's not going to be a review. So I'm thinking about doing it. I hope you guys join me if I do. So be on the lookout this weekend, man. There might be something really special for the first time ever that we're going to do on this channel, man. It's probably going to be more exciting and more fun than the actual fucking event. Until next time, guys. Much love and respect. Next on deck will be AEW Dynamite. That's going to be on Wednesday night. Within a 12-hour period afterwards, man, BC should have a review up for you guys. If anything huge happens in the pro wrestling world, wherever I am in the world, I might just send out an impromptu bonus video covering that topic. So always stay subscribed and notified, obviously, because you'll know whenever I put up bonus videos. And if there's ever big topics or just something I want to talk about, usually I do that. So there could be something either later today, maybe tomorrow. Always be on the lookout. Listen, even though I wasn't able to go live because there just wasn't enough material, I still gave almost 2 hours, over an hour and a half of fucking content. A lot of it was just an hour-long cold open of just disappointment of this product. This show fucking sucks. It is horse shit. It needs to change. It needed to change 15 years ago, but never more evident today. But no, wait, don't worry. We're sending Stone Cold, and we're currently on the phone to try to get Mark Calloway the Undertaker back. Don't worry, guys. We know exactly what needs to be done to fix this company. Has anybody seen Roddy Piper? Vince is asking. He doesn't know that he's no longer with us. God rest his soul. Much love. Rest in power, Roddy. But for some reason, Vince is still looking for you. He's trying to call anybody and everybody back. Build new stars? Too easy. He's too stubborn for that. He's not going to cave in. Amplified man. Think, be, live, amped always. Till next time. Check you later. And I'm out.